Alright, Jacob, so today we're going to be working on marimba and the grip and how to apply the grip principles to actually playing the marimba. So first things first, you're going to have to think about a couple of different things. For one thing, unlike the drumsticks, you're not going to grip it at the very bottom of the stick. You're going to want to have to go about halfway between the edge of the mallet and then the bottom of the mallet. So you want it right in between in the center. Secondly, when you wrap your hands around it, you don't want them very tightly squeezing it. You don't want a death grip on it. You kind of just want to have it snug around it to where you're going to have some fluidity in your playing to where you're not constricting and restricting the stick. Next, you're going to want to have your palms slightly facing the floor but not completely flat. You want them kind of angled to where it feels very relaxed and you're not forcing them either way, either upwards or to the side or straight down. It's just relaxed. Next, you're going to want to have about pinky lengths worth of height away from the marimba. So if you can just go ahead and put your pinkies on the keyboard for me like that. Perfect. Now have your sticks just above it. Like remove your pinkies and leave them there. Perfect. Now, when you strike the marimba, each bar, you want to hit in the center of the bar. It produces the best tone, and it also avoids any excess sound. You want to have the cleanest, best tone you can get every time you strike. So, for example, if I were to hit it here towards the end or around this, you can see there's string in between each, like rope in between each bar. If you hit in that general area, it creates a little more excess sound. So. And it just sounds dead, like there's no ring, there's no tone to it. It's just, and if you were to hit it in the center, it's very clean and resonant. So I want you to try that for me. Make sure that when you strike it, you hit it in the center, and then we'll talk about actually how to hit it properly. All right, that works. Now, for actually hitting or striking, you want to have it to where the mallet is slightly angled. So you want your wrists not to be flat. You want them to be slightly angled up. And you're going to drop it poop, like that. So do try that. And when you bring it, you're going to lift it back up to the same height that you dropped it at. So again, me first and then you. You ready? And when you do that, you want to have a certain amount of, you want the speed to be the same going down as it is coming up. You don't want to jerk it back up really quickly. You just want to let it gracefully come up just as much as you're letting it go down. So let me go ahead and watch you do it. Just do it about 8 times on your right hand at whatever speed you feel comfortable doing. Alrighty. It looks like you're kind of using a lot of arm, like this. And what you want more is wrist motion. And like I said, don't forget that you want to have it pinky length away. And you want to have it to where it is coming up at the same height with your wrist doing most of the motion. So try it again. Alright. Yeah, you got it. Alright, let's try it in your left hand, because you said you were right-handed, correct? So your left hand's going to be a little less comfortable and maybe not as natural. So let's try it with your left hand. Same thing. See? I want you to see that I'm not changing the height every time, and you try to use more wrist, then you don't want to... Oh, and you never want to have any prep. You want to go ahead and have it just come down, come up. No excess movement. So try it with your left hand. Wrist. You could probably start from a little higher of a point as well. And like I said, don't forget to have your wrists angled a little more higher up. Like that. There we go. Try it again. Alright, perfect. Now, we're going to do an exercise kind of like the snare one where it's 8 on a hand, but instead of that, you're gonna do your left hand on the note C. And you're taking piano lessons currently, so you know where C is on the keyboard. Perfect. And then I want your right hand to be on the note D. Yep. All right. Let's go ahead and set this metronome, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do 8 on a hand with mallets using the notes C and D. And I want you to just remember all the things, all the little steps that I just told you about, and I'll make sure that you're doing them. So let's start this metronome. Where's the button for it? Perfect. So just watch me, and then I want you to play back for me what I show you. So it's... And then I'll give you 4, and then... So go ahead and try that for me. 1. Good. Now just give yourself a second, and when you're ready, go in on the left hand, 8 on hand. Again. And right hand. Alright. One thing I'm seeing is that your thumbs are actually very out, like this. I forgot to mention that before. But when you have your hands wrapped around, you want your thumbs to be almost like snare, where they're kind of parallel to each other. The first knuckle of your pointer finger to be like this. So you don't want your thumbs sticking out too much. And then another thing is that you're using a lot of arm, like I told you before. So just avoid that by, like I said, check your pinky. Make sure your height is good. Make sure that your wrists are angled slightly up and that they're not completely flat to the floor. They're just relaxed. And then we're going to go ahead and try that again. So let me just demonstrate it one more time, and then you can go after me. So it's just... I want you to make sure that you pay attention to the wrist motion and how the height never changes. Alright, so go ahead and you try it with your right hand first. 8 on hand. And... left hand. Much better, Jacob. Much better. You're using your wrist more. Again, right hand. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. Not that bad, right? So let's try it. Let's bump up the tempo a little bit. Actually, before I do that, let's make sure, instead of just doing it separated, I want you to alternate between hands. So instead of doing 8 on a hand, you're going to go... And when you do that, you got to realize that it might be kind of awkward because you're not very comfortable with this yet. So you might have to look. But just make sure that you're always doing everything that I've showed you. You're keeping the height the same. You are having your palms relaxed at an angle to where they're not completely flat to the floor. And that you're coming back to the same height every time with no prep. You're just dropping it and letting it come back up to the same height naturally. You don't have to bring it up any quicker than you bring it down. It's the same speed. So let's try alternating. I will demonstrate that very quickly, and then you can go ahead and repeat after me. So it's just gonna... Alright, try that. Alright, now let's bump it up to 80, because you're doing pretty good, so let's get it up to 80. it again. Ready? I'll demonstrate first, and then you repeat after me. Go ahead. Perfect. Alrighty, we're good.